Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Modern Grind. And today we're doing a modern Goblins deck tech with my good friend Stan. Stan, say hello to the people.
What's up, people? Hello, fellow goblins.
How's your day going, bro?
Honestly, really good. It's always a good day when I get to see Goblin Ringleader in person.
Salute. And Stan, you've been helping me a lot with this Goblins list. I'm gonna pull it up right now. You've been doing a lot of testing. How do you feel about the archetype right now?
Honestly, this is the most Magic I've played in years. I think I've run like 7 or 8 leagues this week alone.
That's amazing because I know you really don't get to play Magic like ever.
Yeah, I'm usually just stuck at the shop, so I don't really get to play as much as you guys. I'm very jealous.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate the sacrifices you make for the community. If you don't know, Stan is an owner of Tales or Boar's Hat Gaming and Elgin. They also run the Tales from the Tap podcast. So if you enjoy singles or sealed product, you should check out their store. It's boarshatgaming.com. And you should go check out the Tales from the Tap podcast. It's a wonderful podcast. It's the only podcast that I love. And it's the only one that I'm subscribed to their Patreon. So you should go give them some love because they do amazing work. You want to talk about the list, Stan?
Yeah, actually, I did have some questions because I got some advice from a friend of ours who's also pretty good with birthing ritual type decks. And you and I have been talking about it pretty much all week, how like this plays and feels so much different than like a normal Goblins Ether Vial. I have this like weird fair plan with a combo finish, but like I can be aggressive, and like Birthing Ritual kind of removes that aggressiveness, but gives you a more streamlined combo. And so our buddy who like plays Samwise already was saying Clarion Conqueror and Elish Norn specifically are really, really hard for us. Yeah. I kind of agree. A lot of Clarion Conquerors, I don't know if you've been seeing them around.
Dude.
Which is why I like the Mog Mob that you guys convinced me on.
Yeah, Mog Mob is sweet. I was just gonna say Mog Mob can't kill Clarion Conqueror, but it's really sweet into like the X1 decks 1000%.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's what I mean, like the X1 decks, Ocelot Pride, Guide of Soul stuff. They're just so annoying, and if you can slow them down in one turn. I think last night I had a league where I was playing against Prowess. He went double Darcy, and I literally went turn 3, tap out. I don't care, sack my Mog Mob, go, and he had nothing after that.
Yeah, it's a mini Pyroclasm in that situation. The best feeling is when they go Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls, and you're like, kill both of them.
Right, exactly. It's so good. It really is. And I didn't think I could do it, but I managed to squeeze Thoughtseize into the main board. Although I'm only at 3 right now. I know this list that I have on screen with you has a Thoughtseize in the sideboard, but honestly, I was just testing, and it was like 4 in the morning when I made this list.
Sure.
I really like the Maggots of the Moon. I really like the Meltdown. Vexing Bobble kind of feels mandatory, as well as Disrupting Flu. Surgical also feels pretty good. I could be convinced on other cards. I'm sure there's other cards that we can look at. And then, like I said, we had our buddy Matt help us out a little bit. He recommended either Noxious Grass for Assassin's Trophy. So right now I have the list with Noxious Grass or Assassin's Trophy in the sideboard. I bumped it down from 3 to 2 Surgicals. I took out the 4th Thoughtseize to try to fit in either one of these as a 2-of or 1/1. Noxious Grass specifically lets you hit green or white creature or planeswalkers. The fact that it hits planeswalkers is kind of nice because obviously you don't want to give them a land, but this hits Small Teferi, this hits Clarion Conqueror, this hits Elish Norn, Mother of Machines. There's a couple other kind of annoying targets that it hits. For better or for worse, you can even exile like a Grist if it matters. Or not exile, but destroy. The gain life doesn't really come up, but Assassin's Trophy does something similar. It's just a bit more mana intensive as like a primary red deck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like getting green and black is kind of rough. In addition to the fact that you give them a land, although it's kind of nice that it can hit lands against like Tron decks. Yeah. So I kind of want to test it out with Noxious Grasp, and then while I'm playing matchups, be like, man, if this was an Assassin's Trophy, would that have felt better or worse? But at the same time, I probably wouldn't bring in Noxious Grasp against any Tron decks.
Yeah.
But we have 3 Maggots of the Moons, so
I really first off, big shout out to Matt, the local Samwise player who, when I sit down across from him, I know I'm going to learn something, but I'm going to lose fast. Always has some good takes and has been helping a lot with this list. I agree, Noxious Grasp is really cool. It can hit Titan. It can hit a lot of like different, very unique things that you need to kill sometimes. And I think that like the downside of giving your opponent a land and the color intensiveness does kind of make me a little bit scared of like putting an Assassin's Trophy in the deck. Um, I like the idea of having like 2 just catch-all removal spells. It also kills Flage. If they escape a Flage back, that can be huge. Yeah, so overall, like I think that having the Trash Master in the main is huge. The Stink Scourger in the main is also huge. I like having Thoughtseize in the main because we're so combo-centric right now. If we're playing,
the Thoughtseizes has honestly felt great.
yeah.
I know you love doing the 61 card special. I was like, if you want to play 61, feel free to play a 4th Thoughtseize. The card is amazing.
Yeah, and then you said cut down on a surgical, so you would play 2 surgical, and then you would move the Thoughtseize to the main. If we can't find a cut for it, then we just play 61 and have a 2 of Noxious Grasp in the sideboard, and you would just run it like that.
Yeah, I was going to play the league tonight once we got done with the call. I was going to run it with 3 Thoughtseize main and 2 Noxious Grasp, mainly because I think the color intensiveness in Trophy might present a problem. Although theoretically you could fix that. I think right now on the main board we have 2 Surveil lands, and they feel really good. Don't get me wrong, because like you know, we're playing off the top of our deck consistently.
Yeah.
And there's just so many games where you just fetch Surveil. Doesn't even matter that you don't get the mana from it because you're just like, oh, set up my top deck, I win.
Yep.
And that's on turn 3 all the time, since you only need 2 mana for Rudenbelt Hordemaster or whatever. You just want to get 2 looks at a Kiki Jiki if possible, or 3. And then if we needed to, we could add a shock land and just play 1 Surveil land in theory. It just doesn't feel as nice. I think right now we have 2 Stomping Grounds, 1 Blood Crypt.
Yep.
If I was going to make it more like intensive on the mana, I guess I'd switch Raucous Theater for a 2nd Blood Crypt and then just try to keep the Commercial District as our Surveil land target. Theoretically, you could cut a mountain. It just feels kind of rough. I think that a lot of times we can get pressured on life against Izzet prowess.
Yeah.
They can really pressure us on that. And now that we're like a combo deck, it feels like you're playing Belcher and these guys are trying to one-shot you.
Yeah.
Because you don't really have like Lightning Bolt and Fatal Push.
Yeah, we're definitely much more fragile to the aggro plan of our opponent, right? Like it's really hard for us to like sit there and grind like we used to. I do want to say that I've really enjoyed the 1-drop into Birthing Ritual lines where you just like look at 7 cards, grab a Snoop, put the Snoop into play. The following turn, you can like hard cast another 2-drop, or you can play a 3-drop and tutor for your combo piece. Like it feels Birthing Ritual feels very strong. For those of you that don't know, it's a 2-mana enchantment. Beginning of your end step, if you control a creature, you look at the top 7 cards of your library. Then you may sack a creature. If you do, you may put a creature card with mana value X or less from among those cards on the battlefield, where X is 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Basically, this is Birthing Pot on a 2-mana enchantment that you don't have to put any mana into or tap to activate. So it's just incredibly busted. And looking at 7 cards is sometimes like a fourth of your entire deck. There's like sneaky things too that I've found to be like really, really cool. Like playing a Harbinger with a Birthing Ritual in play, you can choose to put any 4-drop that you want on top. And then at the end step, if you still have the Harbinger, you can sack it to just put the 4-drop directly into play.
Exactly. Huge play.
Has there been anything that's like stood out to you, like lines that you've really enjoyed recently?
My favorite line definitely has to be with Rudenbelt Hordemaster. It's kind of horrific on Moto. And paper, it feels great, but on Moto, it's terrible. It's like you said, Birthing Ritual is so busted. And one of the things that the deck is so good at is it kind of abuses the fact that a lot of these cards, like Birthing Ritual, lets you look 7 deep. And Rudenbelt lets you look a card deep every time you lose a guy, right?
Yeah.
Because he's like exiling. But it kind of like all stacks together to really let you like cheese these numbers. So like if you have a turn where you're going to play a Birthing Ritual because you want to look down deep, if you have a fetch land and you already have a Snoop, well, 1, you looked at the top card already. Let's say you fetch for a land. Now you're getting a 2nd look. If you Surveil, you're getting a 3rd look. Now by the time you Birthing Ritual, you're getting 10 looks, about 9 cards deep. And that doesn't include the fact that after the birthing ritual resolves, you can still look at another card on top of your deck if you have a Snoop in play. So you're looking 10 cards deep, and that's like 25% of your deck a lot of games. So like, because the deck is so linear, like 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 on a lot of the really important pieces, you're not often missing. And if you are, you're usually able to get something that'll facilitate either slowing your opponent down or presenting like a must answer. Like you said, you like going ignoble into birthing ritual, which I really like as well. If you can get ignoble into birthing ritual and either surveil land or skirk prospector, now you have 2 guys to sack. So you sack whichever one is worse for you. Usually, if you need black mana, you keep the ignoble. If you want to cheese, you keep the skirk prospector. But if you sack ignoble on that turn, even if you get Warren Instigator, if they don't have blockers, that's kind of like a must answer now. They have to like either put a guy into play or kill your Warren Instigator, because they have to respect that your hand isn't like Mom. Or if it's Matron, then they're dead. But if it's like anything else, then they're scared.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that there's so many cool interactions in this deck. Birthing Ritual can grab, like, Birthing Ritual plus Harbinger just becomes throw whatever you want into play. Ignoble plus Birthing Ritual means throw whatever 2-drop you want into play. And both of our 2-drops that we have 4 of, Snoop and Harbinger, Snoop and Instigator are both insane when you have them on 2 or even 3. If your opponent, like you said, if your opponent doesn't have blocks, you go Matron, Demonic Tutor for any goblin that we want, put it directly into play. Sometimes you just put a Kiki-Jiki into play, turn 2 Krenko, turn 2 Sling Gang. I won a game today with double Birthing Ritual off of 2 1-drops because I was able to go Birthing Ritual, sack one of the 1-drops, grab a Warren Instigator, sack the Warren Instigator, grab a Matron, and then tutor for my Sling Gang. And then the following turn, he was at 4, so I just cast my Sling Gang and won.
Right.
Also, Skirk plus Ignoble gives you some really crazy mana lines where you're able to go like tap my Ignoble for mana, sacrifice it to my Skirk. Now my Ignoble's a ritual. Like,
right.
Very, very strong.
It's very crazy. Warren Instigator really, I mean, Arena of Glory specifically, now that we're on the topic, probably the most influential Goblins card, even though it's not a Goblin. Yeah. Arena of Glory, definitely. Probably the single biggest power boost to the deck ever. Warren Instigator, I mean, we already talked about it in the past since you've been playing Goblins for like 10 years, but Warren Instigator is like formerly unplayable. Like, yeah, he was a boss in like Worldwake maybe, but or Zendikar whenever he came out.
Yeah.
But like after that, like we were never playing this guy in Modern. Like double strike 1/1, dies to everything, never getting in. Arena of Glory though, now he has haste. They don't have blockers, they don't have mana, they have to have a solitude. Really, really scary. I had a turn last night. One of my favorite lines is if you already have a Snoop. So like Snoop is like obviously still the cornerstone of the deck, but if you already have a Snoop in play, Warren Instigator becomes such a scary threat. I had a game where I had Snoop in play on turn 2. Go to my turn. They don't have a blocker, and I draw Warren Instigator. I play my Arena of Glory, and then attack, and then you just win. Like, does this connect? Yes, I win. So I go first trigger Matron, search my deck for Harbinger, because the thing with Warren Instigator that people might not know is that it's double strike. So the first strike hits, you get to search before second strike, or regular damage, I suppose. And then whatever you're grabbing with it, like you mentioned, Kiki-Jiki is a really good target. You're going to slam that into play. So Bargart Harbinger, obviously the target. Then you already have Snoop in play. Hit it off the second trigger. Boom, you're comboing. And that is just one of the ways you can go infinite on turn 3. Not to mention, like, you already could just like have drawn it naturally.
Yeah. And like the other thing that I really love about Warren Instigator is there's some hands where you have like the Horde Master or a Trash Master in your hand. So the first strike damage, you put your Lord in, then it deals 1 more point of damage. There's so many lines.
That's actually very relevant.
Yeah. There's so many lines. I did that tonight to push Xaxes against Sudeep. There was so many different things. And what somebody said, I think it was Matt who told me, he was like, this attacking on 2 with haste is the same speed as Lackey on turn 1 Lackey, turn 2 attack. This is actually
Exactly.
the same thing as
Yes.
what we're doing in Legacy.
Yes, it's not as good as Lackey, but it's like just barely the next best thing. You know what I mean?
Which is crazy.
Like for sure, turn 1 Lackey would definitely be like our 4 of.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be close. And so, yeah.
Another good line I think people should know is that Arena of Glory. People are already doing this in like Boros Energy and stuff, but you can split the mana, so you don't have to just use both of the haste mana on one guy. I've had turns like you mentioned with Goblin Trashmaster, right? I had a game last night since I played two leagues. War and Instigator, I had 2 of them with 4 mana, so I split my arena, which is really nice because then you don't have to exert both. I make haste mana, then I tap my other lands for red, split the mana so they both have one of the red haste mana, and now I've got 2 War Instigators in play. First strike happens, I get trigger, so I go one of the triggers, I go Trashmaster to make my guys bigger. The other trigger, I go Sling Gang because I drew them both, and then the next turn or the next step would be regular damage. It's 4 damage now. And my opponent scooped when he saw that because he was like, well, after damage, I'm at like 7 life. And I've got 2 Warren Instigators, Trashmaster, Sling Gang, plus his bonus goblins. So he's like dead.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And there's like, that's why if I can, I go Matron Kiki-Jiki so often, because then at their end step, you copy your Instigator, go to your turn, and you can make a 3rd Instigator. And then you just like super play around spot removal. Or if you want to just draw an extra card, you copy the matron that you have, and then you have 4 goblins that you can chuck into play if they don't have blocks. Yeah, the main feels very strong. You guys helped me. Big shout out to Stan and Chris Smith and Matt Nass for helping me a lot.
True. The Pro Tour testing.
Yeah, like Matt posted the list. You jumped on it really quickly, talking about how birthing ritual is the truth. And I'm very skeptical. I like to move slowly because I work really I've spent a long time trying to find the best build. So when someone tells me that something's good, I'm very, very skeptical. I want to see the results. And you've been pushing up really good results in your leagues, and the games look close and really good. And I played it tonight in the last 2 nights in a row, and I'm still learning the lines. I went 1-3 both nights, but that's because we're playing against like pure Espergorios. People are only playing the best decks because they're getting close to the RC. And the list feels phenomenal. Having a lower curve. Before I was playing, I'll tell you, I was playing 5 1-drops, like 8 2-drops, 14 3-drops, and like 6 4-drops. So the curve was absolutely fucked. This looks 1,000 times better, and I have to turn off the heat. I'm cooking something on the stove, but talk about the sideboard real quick. I'll be right back.
Sure. Do your thing, man. While Jack's cooking up some weenies. Sideboard plan is pretty simple, honestly. Surgical Extraction is good against any graveyard deck that gives you problems. Sometimes I'll bring it in against Gorios. Depends on how many cards I want to cut against the guy, because Vaccine Bobble is also really good against them. Usually you're only really scared of their Solitude plan. They do a lot of free spell BS with the evoke creatures. Disruptor Flute, even though it looks kind of weird, is so powerful. I mean, the format's very combo heavy right now with Neoform, Belcher, Gorios, Goblins if you run into it. And so cards like Disruptor Flute can really stop people from playing problem cards. I've even brought it in against Affinity a couple times where like if they're like the super aggro Pentacle Emissary version, the only card you really lose to is Kappa Cannoneer. Are you back?
Yep.
For sure. Yeah, I was talking about how like sometimes I'll bring in Flute if I can fit it in against like super aggro Affinity, since like Kappa Cannoneer is like unwinnable for us sometimes.
Yeah.
That's honestly, I was playing 4 Meltdowns for a while because of how scary Affinity was as a deck.
I could see
like
that.
I said, we're still going to try the Assassin's Trophies and the Noxious Grasp out, or any kind of like 2-mana removal spell. Probably Trophy is the most versatile because it hits the most decks for us. I mean, we're getting a lot of power for the mana intensiveness, obviously. Magus of the Moon, getting it off of Birthing Ritual, man, so free. It's like actually disgusting how free that is.
Yeah. When I was playing the one in the main.
Ahead.
Sorry, I was playing the one. I'm 2 points. One against Affinity, the Thoughtseizes are like, as you said, secretly goated. Like when you take their Pinnacle Emissary, they have no payoff. They have no way to like make extra dudes, and sometimes they can't even cast their thought casts or thought monitors. And 90% of the time, that's the way that they're going to try to win the game. Is they're going to go, here's my Pinnacle Emissary, make a bunch of dudes, draw my cards back. And so if you can just take the Pinnacle Emissary, or like you said, the Kappa, that's their turn 1 or turn 2 plan, they really don't have a way to, rebuild after that. They just have a bunch of 0 drops in their hand, and maybe they're trying to win through a Saga, but we can 1,000% outgrind a Saga with this deck. And then the other thing,
Saga definitely you can beat. It's just the card they're searching for, you're usually scared of.
Yes, and that's why like the main deck Trashmaster is so huge. I love that because there's so many games where we just have like 1 or 2 bodies laying around, and Trashmaster just becomes like sack a goblin, win the game. And yeah, Magus is literally insane. I played it tonight against Neoform. I was looking for the combo, right? But my opponent had blue mana up, so they could consign my Harbinger ETB. So what I did was I sacked my Warren Instigator, and I put a Magus into play. And then my second Birthing Ritual trigger found my combo. So I was able to play around the consign by just taking the mana away that he had, and he didn't have a window.
Right.
He didn't have a window to float, right? Because he doesn't have a window to see the Magus and then make mana. He has to float the mana before the ritual trigger resolves, preemptively hoping that there's a Magus in there.
Right.
Which is good for me, because then I have the opportunity to just like not grab that card, grab something else. Because
plus you win if they counter, like if they consign your Birthing Ritual trigger, you're like super fine with that. Like, okay, all right, go. Do you have it?
Literally, yeah. And so I agree with that 1,000%. I almost want to play 4 Magus, which sounds insane, but because of how good it is when you put it in with Birthing Ritual, and the only time that we bring it in, right, are against the decks like after game 1, or against the decks that literally can't beat a Magus, right? Like it
helps a lot too with Amulet Titan, because you have Thoughtseize now.
Yeah.
Amulet Titan, which would be like formerly an unwinnable matchup. If you can go Thoughtseize into Birthing Ritual, the Magus coming down on turn 3, whether you have to sack for it or you draw it naturally, can really put a damper in their game plan. If you don't have Thoughtseize, then you're really trying to get it out in turn 2 with a Birthing Ritual if possible.
Yeah.
But it can be harder because then you have to have Ignoble into Birthing Ritual, so you can have something else to sack.
Yeah.
But Magus of the Moon definitely does work. There's a lot of matchups right now that are really greedy with the mana. That's why I play 3 Mountains. There's just so many greedy decks right now, and nobody's like tried to like Boseiju me off of Arena of Glory or Birthing Ritual or anything like that yet. But like you said, like Magus can just win you a free game against like Goryo's Domain. Even I had a game last night with Domain where I got him to tap his fetch land down to play a guy, and then I immediately slammed Magus, even though I skipped my turn basically. I was like, Magus, go, because then he had only mountains to try to cast all his creatures, and he just couldn't do anything. Multiple turns go by, he just keeps playing mountains, even with a domain Leyland of the guild pack in play.
Yeah.
Since it's time stamped. The only thing is you can't let them have a basic land. If they have a basic land, your Magus is worthless.
Yep.
So sometimes Magus is honestly not that good in the matchup if they have a basic land. I just happened to maneuver it so I didn't show him my Magus until he tapped out and didn't have an opportunity to fetch.
Yeah, which is playing it really smart. I think that there's a lot of decks, right, that fold to Magus. Like against Goryo's, they have Solitude, but if we're able to somehow get like, Magus, they Solitude it, and then we get another Magus, like there's a lot, like even Amulet Titan, they play Dismember and Fire Magics now. But I mean, if we have
a lot of Fire Magics,
if we have the opportunity to, and that's the other thing, right? Fire Magic's so good against us. However, we have to. Our opponent not only has to have it, we have to have a board that's weak to it. And there's a lot of games where we're able to win before our opponent is able to kick their Fire Magic to 2 damage. And one
Right.
damage really doesn't. It hits our 1-drops, but if we Thoughtseize it out of their hand, we're pretty much scot free to combo as fast as possible. There's a Krenko in here. I love Krenko, but would you like to explain why you think Krenko's good in this deck?
I feel like of the 4-drops that we're playing, he's almost like he feels kind of mandatory to me until we have like a better option. I know you and I talked about a lot of the options we were talking about testing with, where like we tried. I was trying Hobgoblin Bandit Lord. I even theorized with Wart, whatever her name is, Wart the
Bogart Auntie.
Yes, the Auntie Auntie's Goblin lady, where she could grab him out of your graveyard. Ringleader just ended up being like the best version of I need to get out of jail card to like get value. But Trashmaster, like we talked about, just does a good job of answering like artifact problems and is like a good alternate win condition that we can lean into. Krenko really like facilitates all of that. Like if we do need to lean into a fair plan somehow, he's like the most unfair version of the fair plan, where I'll have games where I want to use Trashmaster. Well, what's the best way to get a bunch of dudes to sack Krenko? And then he's also a lord, so then I have a bunch of 2/2s. Same idea with like Sling Gang. I want a bunch of guys to sack. Okay, well, Krenko's going to let me do that in an unfair way the most. And so putting him on top of your deck can just save you a lot of problems with Snoop, where you're like, well, at least I just have a bunch of guys to work with. Now let me see what Skirk Prospector can get me into. And having that pseudo infinite mana can kind of go crazy sometimes. At least enough for you to get into a crazy game plan. I've even had games where like you can have Snoop, Kiki Jiki, make infinite guys, right? And then Skirk Prospector is like letting you kind of dig through your deck. You can do similar lines without Kiki Jiki if you have Runeville and Krenko. First of all, Runeville's a lord, so synergy with Krenko is already like really high. But Krenko making all those 1/1s every time they sack, exiling cards off of your deck, manipulating what card you're going to draw, and manipulating what's on top of your deck for Snoop, it's really scary for the opponent. And then it's just like that many cards deeper for you to go with Birthing Ritual. I've had even like games where I have like nothing, so I draw Krenko, and I'm like, man, this could have been anything else, but it's Krenko. You give him haste, make a Goblin, sack the Goblin to Birthing Ritual just for like an Ignoble or a Spark Prospector, rebuild. And now you're like all of a sudden back in the game. They have to start respecting you. And this is like after field nukes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like Krenko, I think I like him a lot. Specifically, and by the way, on mtgo, playing this deck is a fucking nightmare. In testing, it is so like it's so much. This is a paper deck for sure.
Yeah,
like it's like playing Splinter Twin back in the day. Oh, and paper, I make an infinite guys. On Moto, you're fucking clicking nonstop. No ifs, ands, or buts. You know, you have to make 30 guys, and your opponent's going to sit there, and that's fine. But with Krenko, at least with Krenko, you're like, okay, I got to a point where I have a bunch of guys with Snoop. I want to win with Runevelt because I don't have Bogart Harbinger. So I'll make 30 guys or 40 guys, start going through my end step, Kiki Jiki making me sack my guys, exile off the top of the Runevelt, exile off the top of the Runevelt. Oh, I hit Krenko. Well, I'll tap it. I'll make 30 more Goblins. So as I dig deeper, these are the ones I'll sack to the Sling Gang when I eventually find it. Which is so funny, by the way, because when you win like that, you basically win with no deck.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have a deck anymore. All of my Goblins are in exile. Fling a bunch of damage at you. It's so beautiful. It's literally, I don't know if you watch Naruto, but it feels like your Datara.
Yeah.
It's like cuts. This is it, bro.
1000%.
Art is an explosion.
Art is an explosion. That's all, dude. That's a great quote. And like I found the same thing back when because I used to play a Krenko in my Snoop builds, because you're right, if you have nothing and you play a Snoop and then like you have a Krenko on top, right? You get to go, okay, when I go to my upkeep, I would like to, end step, tap, make 1 Goblin. Upkeep, tap, make make 2 goblins. So you have 4 goblins now. If you have an Arena of Glory, you just hard cast it with haste, and then you tap and you make, that's 4 or 5. You make 5 more goblins, so you have 10 goblins, and that's just from having a single Skirk or a single Snoop and a single Krenko. The card makes the board faster than anything else. Also, Warren Instigator lines. There's been times where against certain decks, depending on the deck, I go hasty Warren Instigator on the play, Matron, grab Krenko, put Krenko in play, and then if I untap with that Krenko, the game literally just ends. I've had people concede to just the Krenko being in play. They're like, "Oh, you have a Krenko? I just can't beat that," and they concede, which is insane. But that's how it is. Some decks just can't beat multiple bodies. And I feel like the decks that we struggle against, like the Solitude Ephemerate decks, like if they don't literally have it when they need it, it's really hard for them to come back from like a huge board unless they have a Wrath of the Skies. But that's like one of the cards that we want to Thoughtseize, right?
Yeah, 100%. A Wrath of the Skies. Although even with Wrath, they have to pay a lot of energy for it to be scary for us now.
Yeah.
We're not the Aethervile deck, you know. It's like, oh, you got my Ignoble. Good job. Did you have 2 mana for it? And if they did they get any of my relevant 3-drops? Because I'm going to just sack into Birthing Ritual and go dig deeper. There's no way they're going to ever get to like Wrath of the Skies for 3 against us. And if they do, then we were just not really doing anything relevant anyway that game.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. There's definitely games where like we get to that point, but they've had relevant interaction all the way up the curve, and we were never winning the game if our opponent has 3 removal spells. Like it's really hard for us when they go like, here's my threat, removal. The best example of that is like Prowess, right? They get a Slick Shot in play and they just bolt our relevant cards. It's really hard for us to win.
Yeah, Prowess definitely feels harder than Gario's because they're a slower clock than Prowess. It feels like less removal almost. Another matchup that can be kind of hard is like I guess like Boros can be scarier than like Azorius Blink. Like Mogmob does a good job of getting rid of their early threats, but Flay just still looks a scary card for us.
Yeah.
Same with Domain, because Domain does Flage, right? Domain has Doorkeeper Thrall.
Oof.
Doorkeeper Thrall is a problem. Like these are kind of cards where we're trying to bring in Noxious Crest and Assassin's Trophy for on purpose because the Flash, Torpor Orb, and Clearing Conqueror turning off activations, Elish Snoring turning off all ETBs. These are scary white cards for us.
Yes, 1,000%. And that's the cool thing is like Sting Scourger deals with Clarion Conqueror, Mogmob deals with Doorkeeper Thrall. There's like different cards that are for like those different cards. And once they turn off our ETBs, it's much harder for us to find those silver bullets. But again, this is all solved by Birthing Ritual, which it's insane how powerful the card is. And it's over.
Yeah, Birthing Ritual, such good reach.
Yeah.
Have you played against Isochron Scepter Orange Chant yet?
No, I haven't. I heard you had a really cool game against them.
Yeah, so like specifically speaking to the reach of Birthing Ritual, it's crazy because you can just keep going. Like they were like, oh, I'm gonna Orange Chant you. All right, fine. He hadn't done the Scepter lock yet, but he was like, I'm gonna on your upkeep. I have extra Orange Chants, I guess. He's like, I'm gonna cast it with Kicker. I'm like, well, damn. So my turn doesn't really do anything, but I saw Dispersion Ritual trigger, and I still have a Snoop in play. So like, let's see what happens, you know.
Yeah.
And I just kept digging deeper, and just keep putting worse and worse bodies into play for him. He wasn't drawing a field nuke, but he couldn't really field nuke anyway because he kept having to hold up mana to like Orange Chant me or try to Solitude, but Solitude costs them extra cards to pitch. And that's kind of one of the nice things is like because they have to Solitude us so many times, they're losing card advantage against us where we're trying to like play for card advantage. So like if you can get Birthing Ritual into like Goblin Matron, for example, you're like, not only do I have an excellent sack because Goblin Matron is worthless as a body.
Yep.
She is giving me a card advantage and I'm sacking into like whatever I want, Ringleader, Bogart Harbinger, any 2-drop. Like whether it's Snoop or Warren Instigator. And if they're not going to let me attack, then I'll put Snoop into play. Rulebelt Hordemaster always presents them a problem if I can get to a Krenko or a Skirk. It's just so funny how many lines there are now. I actually find myself sometimes being like, man, there's like 3 things I could do here. maybe I'm playing it wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost always a case that, and that's why I like to say I like losing, because then in hindsight you have that 2020 vision. The sooner I can lose, the sooner I can see which of those lines was correct, and maybe I'll remember that for next time. So I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, for sure. What's it called? Is there anything else you wanted to talk about with the deck specifically? I know you said you have work in the morning.
Yeah, no, I think that pretty much covers it. I wanted to ask, like, like what were your lines that you enjoyed, and we went over the Horde Master lines. I really enjoy the Skirk and Ignoble lines, where you can like turn 1 Ignoble, turn 2 Birthing Ritual, turn 3 if you have turn 3 Birthing Ritual. Sorry, turn 1 Ignoble, turn 2 Birthing Ritual, turn 3 if you have a land, you can play a Skirk. Your Ignoble is net positive 1 mana, and then you have like enough mana to go Hasty Snoop, sack one of the things, or sack the Hierarch. What I'm trying to say is there's lines where you can turn 3 combo with your arena if you just have like Ignoble and Skirk in play. And then you're able to, instead of trying to go turn 2 Snoop, turn 3 Harbinger, you can do all of that on turn 3 because your Ignoble makes 2 with the Skirk. The Skirk is 1 by itself,
right?
And you have your 3 lands. So like no longer are we trying to go turn 2 Snoop, hope you don't kill it, turn 3 Harbinger, hope you don't kill it. Instead, we can play towards that arena hasty kill you line all in 1 turn as early as turn 3 now, which is ridiculous. That's absolutely disgusting.
It's crazy. Speaking of your Ignoble, since you love the card so much, and I'm not gonna lie, when Ignoble got printed or even spoiled, I was so happy for you. I just remember seeing Ignoble Hire, we're like, oh my god, they made a Jack card in Modern Horizons 2. So it feels so long ago now.
I swear.
But I had a match against Belcher with some of the boys in the call. We were laughing so hard because he was trying to clock me. I only had a few minutes left on clock. And Belcher's kind of a good matchup for us because they are trying to combo, but it feels like we're a little bit faster than them and we're a little bit more interactive. Their counter magic's not amazing against us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get to a board state where basically I really would need a Warren Instigator to connect to win. And I can't get it to connect because he keeps putting these blockers into play. But I have Exalted, which we haven't talked about yet. The Exalted comes up a lot. You can just attack with like a Snoop for 3, but Warren Instigator's got double strike. We get to a point where I really can't combo, but I have so many guys in play that are like kind of worthless. So I'm attacking with Warren Instigator with prowess and sacking my guys to Birthing Ritual into more Ignoble Hierarchs to keep making the prowess higher and higher, or the Exalted triggers. So it's like double strike for 3 now. Double strike, it's a 4/4. Double strike, it's a 5/5. And then I got a Kiki Chiki. And instead of like getting more guys because I was so low on clock and like winning with any other play that would block me, I just kept making copies of Ignoble Hierarch with Kiki Chiki. And then I ended up winning where I was attacking with a Warren Instigator with 5 Ignoble Hierarchs in play. And we were just laughing so hard because the guy just kept like putting an Otter in front of it, putting the Philogy Archaeologist in front of it, putting Tameshi in front of it. Eventually he just ran out of blue blockers and it was just like, cool. Did you Belcher me? No. Attack with a Warren Instigator. He's attacking and he's got 5 Exalted triggers. You're dead.
Yeah.
And I had like 30 seconds on my clock.
Yeah, I'm trying to send it to myself so I can show before we get off because this is like an amazing photo. Okay, here we go. Because this is the epitome of why. Oh, it's gonna load in very slowly.
Oh, you found the photo?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Can you see it?
Oh yeah, he had Torpor Orb. That's why I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Because he was Torpor Orbing me. So I was just like, well, more Ignoble Hierarchs.
43 seconds on the clock. Wins with a 6/6 double striking Warren Instigator with 5 Ignobles in play because he copied one with the Kiki Jiki. And yeah, that's the fun of this deck, right? Is there's so many, like you said, there's so many lines that you don't see until you have the cards in your hand, and you're like, whoa, wait a second, this is kind of cool. And yeah, so this is fucking awesome. And I just want to say a big shout out to you, Stan. Thank you so much for helping me brew this list because, my brain's been really burnt out recently. I've been trying to do too much. And it's hard to brew. It's hard to brew and play multiple formats. So it's nice to have some friends by your side that help you make the deck better. So thank you.
For sure. To your fans, keep an eye out. Jack and I are going to tag team a sideboard guide for Flex Slot pretty soon, just to have one out for you guys, since this might end up being what you play at the RC, right?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, I think
with your new sweater, that purple Flex Slot hoodie.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all can see. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so y'all can see this, but I got some new Flex Slot merch. So we got, you remember the old red hoodie? We upgraded it to purple, royal purple, and on the back. So also, if y'all know that I make music, real quick plug, I have a brand. This is the symbol of my brand. I call it the Bernie, after Bernie Sanders. But it's basically just like a small face. If I turn it like this, it looks like a little face. I like to put that stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
I like to put that stuff on all my merch. But as well as my music shout outs, I also got all of my friends to sign the back of my hoodie. We're still missing a few because they didn't show up, but it's nice to have all my friends behind me on my trip to this RC, and I hope that when I get to play these games, I get to, carry the weight of the local stores that have made me who I am. So it's such an honor to, be representing the Boar's Hat, Nerd Rage Gaming, all my friends, all my Magic family, and I'm super, super, super excited to be able to show that I deserve to have that blue page, and maybe, just maybe, fingers crossed, all the good vibes in the world. We can go to Pro Tour LORYWN and play Goblins at Pro Tour LORYWN. That would be the dream. So
that'd be awesome, bro.
Yeah. So Stan, thank you so much for doing this call. We'll do this again soon so we can talk about a sideboard guide. And if you enjoy Goblins content, if you enjoy us, we ramble, hit like and subscribe. It's the easiest way to support the channel, and it's free. If you want to do more for the channel, $1 a month is hammered out on every stream. I'm gonna read off the members, then we're gonna go. But Stan, do you have any parting words?
No, man, just thanks for having me on, and I'll catch you later, bro.
Of course, go check out Boar's Hat Gaming for all your singles and sealed products. And if you enjoy Magic podcasts, go check out Tales from the Tap. I'll put both of those in the description. From the top, Alpha Ronan, Tim's Top Decks, Elias Sutter at the Darth, New 80D1 100K, Jared Munster Man, and Annan Ribeiro, Cypher 777, The High Wumpus, AJR, B Rhyme, Gorvisker, Sliver of Nope, Scott McIntosh, Javier Hugo, Valeroth, Yormiger, Terrieth, Nito Bureau, Trucker Philosophy, Green Ranger, and Stanton McCain, the absolute legend who is here with me today. So thank you so much for watching. It really means the world to me. Till next time, I hope you have a beautiful day. Peace.